Hello, my name is Christine Woods. I am an online reference and instruction librarian for St. Leo University. This presentation is designed to help you with legal references. Everything you need to know about formatting your reference page and in-text citations for research papers and assignments in criminal justice courses can be found either in the Blue Book or the APA 7th edition manual. The Blue Book is very in-depth and covers more information about legal references. Chapter 11 of the APA manual covers most of the basic formats that you will need to use. We will be reviewing the most common reference and citation formats you will need to use. There are a few major differences with the format of legal references compared to typical APA format for books, articles, and other sources. The APA format usually starts with the author followed by the date, title, and source, and in-text citations are usually the author and the year. Legal references start with the title, source, and date for the reference page, and in-text citations have the title and the year. Basic legal references include the following: title or name of the case, volume of the book where the case is published, jurisdiction of the court, page number of the book where the case is published, then the year or the court and the year. Having a URL or web address to the location of the case in a database such as Westlaw or Nexus is optional. Be sure and ask your professor what their preference is regarding URLs. This list shows you the most common sources of legal materials and their abbreviations used in legal references. For example, the United States Reporter is the title of the book in which United States Supreme Court cases are published. Now we are going to review how to format U.S. Supreme Court cases for your reference page. On the reference page, put the case title first, and do not put the title of the case in italics. Next, put the volume of the book followed by the title of the book in which the case is published, which is the United States Court Reporter, abbreviated to U.S. The page number used is the page that the case starts on. Notice that there is no punctuation between the volume, source of the case, and the page number. Next is the year of the case in parentheses. The URL is optional. U.S. Supreme Court cases after 2012 will not have a page number. The United States Court Reporter is now published in a digital format. Instead of putting a page number, you are required to put exactly 3 underscore lines in its place. In-text citations include the title of the case in italics and the year. There are 2 types of in-text citations. Narrative citation means that you use the name of the case incorporated into your paraphrased sentence. An example is, in the case of Miranda versus Arizona, 1966, the court ruled that defendants must be told their rights. Notice that the case is in italics when it is incorporated into the citation. A parenthetical citation means that you paraphrase information from the case and then put the title of the case and year at the end of the sentence in parentheses. This is an example. It is very important for people being arrested to be told they have a right to a lawyer. Miranda versus Arizona, 1966. This is an example of a reference page citation for the U.S. Circuit Court. Remember, the title of the case is not in italics on the reference page. You will use the abbreviation F or F2D or F3D for the title of the book that the court case is recorded in. You will include the court and the year in parentheses, and then again, the URL is optional. Here's an example of a U.S. Circuit Court case. Remember, the title of the case is in italics. Remember, there are 2 ways to do in-text citations. Here's an example using a U.S. Circuit Court case. The narrative citation means that you use the name of the case in your paraphrase sentence. Parenthetical citation means that you put the title and year of the case at the end of your paraphrase sentence in parentheses. Here's an example of a reference page citation for U.S. District Court. Remember, the title of the case is not in italics. You will use F SUPP for the abbreviation for the name of the book that the court case is recorded in. Include the court and the year in parentheses. The URL is optional. Here is an example. In-text citations always have the title of the case and the year. Remember, the title of the case is in italics. Remember, there are two ways to do in-text citations. Here is an example of a narrative citation of a U.S. Circuit Court case. Here's an example of a parenthetical citation. Here's an example of a reference page citation for a state Supreme Court instead of the United States Supreme Court. Remember, the title of the case is not in italics. You will use the state abbreviation and series of the book that the court case is recorded in. As an example, CAL is an abbreviation for California, 3D is an abbreviation for 3rd District. The URL is optional. Here's an example of a state Supreme Court reference page. An in-text citation for a state Supreme Court is going to have the title of the case and the year. Remember, the title of the case is in italics in your in-text citations. Remember, there are two ways to do in-text citations. Here's an example of a narrative citation, and here is an example of a parenthetical citation. Sometimes you may need to quote or cite exact laws. A statute is a law or an act passed by federal or state legislation. On the reference page, the title of the act is not in italics and the URL is optional. It will contain the name of the act, the title of the source, section number, year, and URL. This symbol can be found under symbols in Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and various other sources. If you cannot find it, this symbol actually means section, so you could simply spell out the word section. Here is an example of an act. Every Student Succeeds Act, 20 USC, Section 6301, 2015. In-text citations for laws use the name of the act, not in italics, and the year. Here is an example of a narrative citation. Here is an example of a parenthetical citation of an act or a law. Law reviews and other scholarly articles will be formatted the same way as journal articles using the APA format. You will start with the author's names, putting the last name first, comma, and then the initials. Capitalize only the first letter of the first word of a title. The first word after a colon or a dash in the title, proper nouns, and acronyms. Capitalize all major words in journal titles and italicize titles of longer works such as books and journals. This is an example of a citation that would be on the reference page. As you can see, the author's names are last name, comma, first initial. You put an ampersand between the last name and the other names. Up to 20 authors are listed on the reference page. In-text citations help readers locate the cited sources in the reference section of the paper. In-text citations follow either the parenthetical or narrative format. A narrative citation includes the author's name directly in the sentence with the year of publication directly following the author's last name. A parenthetical citation includes both the author's last name and year of publication separated by a comma in parentheses at the end of the sentence. When you are quoting or introducing the quotation, use a signal phrase. If using the narrative style, include the author's last name in the signal phrase with the page number at the end of the quote. If you are using a parenthetical citation, include the author, date of publication, and page number at the end of the quote. If you are citing a source with no page numbers, leave off the page numbers. When you are citing a work with two authors, in the narrative citation, spell out the word A-N-D, in between the author's names. Immediately following will be the year in parentheses, and if it is a quote, you will have the page number at the end of the sentence in parentheses. If it is a parenthetical citation, use the ampersand between the names in the parentheses at the end of the sentence. If it is a quote, then you have to have the page number as well. When citing a work with 3 or more authors, list the name of the first author plus et al. In every citation. Et al. Means and everybody else. Be sure and alphabetize your citations in order by the author's last name or title on your reference page. Put the word references at the top of the page, centered and bold. Citation should be evenly double-spaced with a hanging indent for more than one line. Do not put extra double spaces between. This is an example of a citation that I copied and pasted from a database called Westlaw. There are quite a few things that are wrong with it, so if you copied and pasted this and gave this or turned this in on your reference page, it would be incorrect. So here's what it would look like if it's been fixed. You would have the author's last name, comma, then their first initial, the year in parentheses, period, the article title with the first word in the title capitalized, and then after the colon, it will also be capitalized. Then the journal title is in italics, and then the volume number is in italics. There is no issue number listed, and then the page numbers, and then remember the URL is optional. If at all possible, you should have the DOI, but in this case, there isn't one available. This is from a law review journal. If you have any questions regarding legal references using APA format, please feel free to contact me, christine.woods@stleo.edu, or go to the main St. Leo University Library homepage, and one of our other awesome librarians can help you.